Everyone, this is Rod Santomassimo with the Massimo Show. And today we're going to blow you away. If you are a commercial real estate professional, if you are specifically in the brokerage arena, you don't want to miss this episode. Our guest today is Mr. Mason Fiascone, as we say from the Italian side. And he's going to share with you why he went from 2 units to 200 units in sales in just a short period of time, and how he became the Massimo CRE Accelerator of the Year. Okay, folks, let's go. It's time for the Massimo Show. Hi, this is Rod Santomassimo, and welcome to the Massimo Show. The objective of the Massimo Show is to share how you can maximize your personal, professional margin. That's right. Let's make more money in less time. Let's turn chaos into clarity, confusion into confidence, and income into real wealth. Along with sharing my insight on how I grew a multi-million-dollar professional business, we're going to bring you the expert advice from a variety of authors, consultants, and thought leaders who will provide the tools you need to maximize your own personal and professional margin. Welcome to the Massimo Show. Hey, Mason, welcome to the Massimo Show.
Hey, Rod, thanks for having me on today.
Thanks for being on, man. Your story is so motivating, and I have the pleasure of watching you progress as you have and work with you a little bit. But the purpose of this is really for you to share your story. So we always start at the beginning, and we mean the beginning. So, Mason, when you were in high school, where were you, and what did you love to do?
I was in the Chicago suburbs, north of Chicago in Gurnee, Illinois. I loved all kinds of things, leadership, business, entrepreneurship, everything I could get my hands on. Typical kind of firstborn type A personality. I started a lawn mowing business, mowing lawns in the neighborhood. I was the only male babysitter in like a 5-mile radius. So I got tons of gigs, employed my younger brothers into the business. I was involved in kind of some Catholic leadership through my high school, different opportunities. And I had, I was taking on informal internships and things like that. Just getting everything I could get my hands on. Had some fun, but I probably missed out on some friendships and some fun of high school, but that's kind of the way I'm wired. So that was me in high school.
Wow. I got to tell you, I'm a little scared there because I was a babysitter and one of the only male babysitters in the neighborhood. So I don't think they allow that anymore. But hey.
I babysat all the boys. Everybody wanted a male babysitter for the boys.
Right.
Because I could rough house and play and have the energy levels to keep up with them.
There you go. So you were an entrepreneur before we even knew what entrepreneurship really was. So what year was this? When did you graduate high school?
2012.
2012. Jeez and crackers. He's a baby, folks.
Yeah.
Okay. So 2012. So how did you transition to this thing called commercial real estate?
Well, I went to undergrad university where I met my wife. I studied marketing and philosophy. And then out of undergrad, I did 4 years in corporate America. So I worked in different account management and marketing roles for a big corporation called Unilever, big brands like Ben & Jerry's, Dove, Best Foods Mayonnaise, or Hellman's if you're on the East Coast. And I was in different marketing roles there, managed a $400 million brand and a $50 million marketing budget. When I first joined, I thought there were 3 extra zeros on the end of every number that I was looking at on the P&L. And it gave me a good foundation for matrixed and large organizations. But I realized that my wings were a little bit clipped being in the corporate world. And so while working a full-time job and living in Charlotte and New York and San Francisco, I was doing everything I could to learn about real estate, passive investing, financial freedom, everything I could to understand how can I get out of the corporate world and into the generating income and providing a life for my family. And so that was me trying to buy multifamily deals. I underwrote 250 deals in 3 markets, called brokers, tried to get information, realized after a year and a half of doing that, I'd only scraped the surface of real estate because just trying to buy deals and get your hands on underwriting is like 1% of the process, let alone due diligence, closing, lending, asset management, disposition, all of that. I'd learned very little and realized I needed to get into this business full time. It's what's going to propel my family forward and my life. And so when I had a 3-month-old daughter at home, a house and a family to provide for, about 6 months of savings, I decided the time was now to leave corporate America, to unchain the golden handcuffs and jump into commercial real estate brokerage. Given my affinity for multifamily and what I'd kind of learned over the past 2 years, on the side, I decided to be a multifamily specialist. Saw a lot of opportunity in my markets, which is Eastern Washington, bunch of tertiary small markets, not served by any specialists, but by commercial real estate generalists. And so built a business plan, jumped in, have found a lot of success since then. And that was 15 months ago from today in January 2022.
Wait. So 15 months ago, you left a corporate job, right? And you said, I'm going to go full in, full commission and see how I do.
Yeah, I joined a firm that gave me a little bit of a draw to keep the lights on at home. Felt like I had a little bit of security to be able to do that. Was grateful for the firm taking a bet on me, having never been in the commercial real estate world, but provided me a draw. I was off that draw within 4 months, but it helped me have the ability to take the leap and cover the bills at home.
Okay, for those who are newer to the business, and Mason, under the definition, you are still new to the business, although the production definitely doesn't put you more in a different status overall. But what did you do initially where you were able to get off a draw in less than 4 months? How did you hit the ground running? What did you do? And how did you start filling your pipeline?
So I tell everybody this. It's going to sound like a plug for the Massimo Group or for Rod, but it's not. I tell everybody this is before I even was licensed, I picked up Brokers Who Dominate on the recommendation from a friend and absorbed every single piece of information I could in that book. I mean, it's marked up like crazy. Then moved on to Knowing Isn't Doing and started doing the worksheets even before I was licensed. And having that kind of foundation of knowledge of what is going to be my value proposition, am I in a specialty, helped me build a business plan that I could then execute in those first 4 to 6 months. And so I realized I knew kind of how to be a broker, right? You find the property, you find the owner, you call them, tell them something of value, and you go from there, try to land a meeting. I understood that those were the bricks and sticks or the blocking and tackling of brokerage, but I didn't know how to do it well. So I was doing all of that. I was making calls, talking to the title company, getting a property list, skip tracing owner information to find their contacts and calling them. And that led to, a duplex, a fourplex, opportunities that were low hanging fruit because nobody else had been calling on my market and those owners. And so picked up a few deals and then just stumbled through them. The first fourplex I ever sold was in the winter. There was a carcass in the basement of an animal. There was a main leak in the water line. There was an ice skating rink, basically in the crawl space. I mean, it went through what felt like hell and back in the first few deals because I was stumbling along it. I was still managing to set records on price for a fourplex in Tri-Cities, Washington, but a little bit of that is luck of the market. So I just stumbled through the first few transactions and built the basics of what it looks like to be a broker. And then very quickly realized I knew what to do, but not how to do it well, not how to be an expert and an advisor. And that's when I joined coaching. That's when I kind of built a mentorship team around me. When I started trying to learn everything I could from other brokers, consuming, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, every piece of content I could on how to be excellent at being a broker. And then that's what really took me from picking up a few scrappy deals to actually building a repeatable business and having a full pipeline within my first year, then closing $25.7 million in volume across about 180 units with a pipeline of another 15 million starting out this year. And actually, the pipeline's more like 50 million now.
Okay, hold on. You're going to lose people just based on pure magnitude. No. But this is real. I mean, folks are going, this can't be true, but it is true. I mean, I've watched you and monitor your success. And folks, this isn't a plug. It's just Mason said what he did. Mason read a couple of my books, Brokers Who Dominate, and then Knowing Isn't Doing, did what I asked, right? And then he found success. And he did join our coaching ranks. And for the young guy, he's one of our youngest elite coaching clients we've ever had. You remind me of a kid named Jarrett that just said, you know what, I'm going to dedicate everything to this. So now you're selling these several hundred unit opportunities. And we won't be specific, but you're making significantly higher commissions. But when you said you start to study YouTube, books, coaching, mentoring, lifestyle-wise, what are you giving up? I mean, what have you sacrificed to make this acceleration as dramatic as it has been?
Very little. So I have 2 kids under 2. I have a 1.5-year-old and a 2-month-old daughter, a beautiful wife, a family in town. We're close to a lot of relatives. My lifestyle is for the past 6 months, I get to the office at 8:30 after making breakfast for my family and spending time with them. And then I'm home by 6 o'clock to have dinner and put the kids to bed. I work maybe 3 or 4 hours over the weekend, and I work a total of 45 to 50 hours a week. So I'm really focused on everything I need to do to move the needle during the day and have to ruthlessly prioritize my day and where I spend time because I need it to translate into results. But I realized I got into this business, my why is to be able to invest in cash flowing assets that provide financial freedom for my family so I can work when I want, how I want. My wife and I would love to potentially homeschool our kids or just be very involved in the rearing of our children. And so I realized that I need to get into real estate and commercial real estate to do that, but I'm not willing to sacrifice today for results tomorrow. If my marriage or my kids aren't around in 5-10 years and we don't have healthy relationships, then everything I'm doing today is worth nothing. And so I am not willing to sacrifice the day-to-day and time with my family today for the results tomorrow. But I'm still realizing that success by building in the right frameworks. I work really hard when I am working, but I make sure to still give the time to my family that's needed. But like we haven't gone on a family trip or vacation or things like that in years because we're building a business and there are sacrifices, but I'm not willing to sacrifice the day-to-day and being with my family.
Okay, so do you still sit on the couch and watch TV at night and do all the things that your young father does?
No, no, we don't watch any TV. Like I'll work in the evenings. I'm up late sometimes if I got packages to put together and things like that. But no, we don't. On the weekends, we're active. We're trying to get out as a family. I'm taking care of my kids. I mean, that's active enough, chasing a toddler around. But no, there's no passive element in our life, really. Yeah, always doing something and learning something. Like I'm on Twitter. If I am relaxing on the couch, I'm on Twitter, but it's actually real estate Twitter. And I'm learning from a bunch of brilliant minds and contributing to the conversation. That's kind of the checking out I do.
Hey everyone, this is Rod Santomassimo, and I hope you're enjoying this episode, which is focused on growing your commercial real estate business. Now, speaking of growing your commercial real estate business, did you know that the Massimo Group has worked with thousands of your commercial real estate peers over the last decade plus? And yeah, our clients consistently out-earn their peers by 7x. In fact, last year, our clients earned over $412 million in commissions and fees. Want to learn more? Check us out at massimo-group.com. That's massimo-group.com and schedule a free strategy session today. Let's talk about Twitter for a second, Mason, because last month, I don't think you were on Twitter, right?
Nope.
Maybe you weren't. So a month ago today, how many Twitter followers did you have?
Like 180, and they were all families, friends, and college buddies.
Okay, that's a month ago, folks. Listen to this. So now, a month later, how many people are following you on Twitter?
Let me check the real number. It's something around 1,500, but I can give you the live stats. It's 1,413 followers, which is not that many, but
no. It's
one
month.
time.
In 1 month, you got over 1,300 followers. Is a big.
I don't think I'm an influencer yet, but I definitely
You're
feel
becoming
like I'm
one.
influencing.
You're becoming one. So Mason, how'd you do it? How did you transition to? And some people say, "When does this guy have time to tweet?" So how did you become an overnight boom influencer? And you are becoming one. How does it work?
Well, first off, I never would have discovered if it wasn't for my one-on-one coach who was like, hey, you should check out Twitter. And there's an amazing real estate community on Twitter. I thought Twitter was a dumpster fire for sports news and garbage content, and then realized, there's actually a community of people really focused on real estate, providing value all day long on Twitter. So I started following like 20 different people who have big following counts that are well-known names in real estate. I started following them, and for a couple of months, just kind of lurked on the sideline, just read everything that they put out, would comment here or there, but wasn't really contributing actively to the conversation. I realized in the middle of December, hey, I probably have some things to share, right? I'm doing reflections through coaching. I'm in the day-to-day of brokerage every day. And at the end of every day, basically what I do is I pause and think, okay, what did I communicate today? What did I say today? Or what conversations did I have? Or what work did I do that maybe the world doesn't know about multifamily brokers do every day? So at the end of every day, I just type up a few drafts in an app that allows me to draft tweets and just jot down thoughts. And then I'll go back every week and reflect on those drafts, edit them, and schedule them to post 3 times a day, every week. So I'm constantly putting out random content on Twitter. Most of it is about brokerage, my markets, and contributing to the conversation in a unique way. I'm learning a lot from being a part of the real estate community on Twitter. I have a long way to go to truly provide unique value like some of the people on there. But I basically just jumped in, started talking about what I'm doing every day, and people started coming to me. And the real power of Twitter has not been, 1,400 followers is great, but 1,400 followers doesn't bring me any commissions in brokerage income. What it does is build my presence. And I'm finding that people are actively reaching out to me to connect off of Twitter. So I've had 27 meetings in the last 2 weeks and scheduled this week that all came from Twitter. They're now in my CRM and database. Lots of them buyers. Everybody wants to buy multifamily right now, but many of them are actually active owners and participants in my market as developers, owners, buyers, influencers, things like that. So I'm actually connecting offline, in person, on Zoom meetings or on phone calls with people who will ultimately be my clients and do deals with me, which I never expected from Twitter. And that's the real power, is that it's moving my business forward in a tangible way in just a short amount of time.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. So when people are going to ask, so how does this kid do it on his own? Is it on his own? Do you have a team? I know you have your coach with, you're a client of ours, obviously. And so what is your team like? What is your team?
It's been me, myself, and I. I'm at a local boutique shop, and I'm the only commercial specialist and the only multifamily specialist actually in my market and in the surrounding markets. So there are a lot of commercial real estate generalists, and then I'm at a property management, residential, commercial firm, a typical 300,000 person population market, a typical firm you'd find in that market. And so it was just me. I just built it. I do my own underwriting in Excel. I build my own marketing packages in PowerPoint. I do my own skip tracing or hire someone on Upwork for a few dollars an hour to find contact information. I dial my own dead numbers. I pay for my own subscriptions to Reonomy and other tools. I have my own CRM. It's all been me. And I'm grateful for a really great year last year. And it was a whirlwind to close $26 million in property across 13 deals, really one of them being a 136 unit large deal. It was a whirlwind to get that done. I now have the bandwidth and the power to forward invest in my business. And so I'm now hiring and building my own team within this boutique brokerage that I'm at. So I'm trying to borrow the best models from CBRE, Berkadia, JLL, those large investment teams with 7 or 8 brokers and 4 or 5 support people. I'm trying to co-opt that talent on a freelance basis for my business. So today, actually, I'm onboarding and making my first hire. I have a marketing manager who's going to work for me for 15 hours a week at a really aggressive freelance rate, but she is very well experienced in both investment sales on the brokerage side and on the principal side. I got to see kind of the packages, the offering memorandums that she puts together, and she's going to help take my marketing to the next level and remove me from tools like PowerPoint, which are frankly a waste of my time given my hourly rate for production in sales. The next hire will be an analyst who takes all the underwriting off my plate, and then an assistant who helps me manage the day-to-day and the tasks that pile up as a broker, including looking up addresses to send mailers out to and things like that. So by April of 2022, I hope to have a team of 3 people without full-time payroll who are really talented in the industry and can help me focus on what I'm best at, which is making phone calls, meeting with clients, and closing deals.
Geez, and crackers, you got some plans. Okay, let's ask one last question. Do numbers matter? We always wonder if numbers matter. I know what the answer is from my point of view, but we're doing this in all. There's a podcast. You can see I'm holding up Mason's plan for 2022, and it's pages and pages and pages of plans and pages and pages and pages of numbers. So, Mason, let me ask you, would you have any idea how many calls you made last year?
Yes, sir. Quiz me offhand. I think it's 2,070 calls.
2,070 calls. Give me a ratio. Give me a ratio of the things you know. Give me a couple of ratios of your business.
I meticulously study the numbers. I track every single call, appointment, conversation, pitch, what lands, what doesn't. So I know that 45% of the dials I make outbound turn into conversations with property owners or buyers in the market. So 45 of every 100 dials I punch in my keypad, I'm having a conversation with an owner. And of those 45 conversations, I will land 4 to 5 meetings. So 45% hit ratio on conversations from calls, and then a 10% ratio of landing a meeting. And then of those 4 to 5 meetings, I'll get 2 or 3 proposals where I'm pitching for the value or the listing of their property. I also know that 86% of my listings turn into closed deals, whereas 22% of my exclusive buyers actually end up closing deals. So my focus needs to be on finding sellers who want to sell and exclusively list with me, because 86% of them are going to close, whereas only 22% of the buyers are actually going to close with me. So different ratios like that help inform where I should be spending my energy. And every week I'm tracking how many calls I make, I change my opening statement every month on what value I'm providing to the owners I'm calling.
Yep.
God knows this,
Yep.
we role play all the time. And so, like, for example, last week, I made 57 calls. I had 22 conversations. Of those 22 conversations, I landed 6 meetings and will do 4 pitches for valuations and proposals of those 6 meetings. That's a pretty good ratio for the week. And if I can keep that going, then I'm going to have a great year. My pipeline was filled up after 1 week, and now I'm busy doing BOVs and trying to still make the calls.
Remind us again how long you've been doing this?
15 months.
Phenomenal. Mason Fiascone, I can't tell you how much we appreciate your time, your insights. There's no doubt you were an easy choice for the Massimo Accelerator of the Year. I know now you're hunt down that Massimo Elite member and Dominator coming up. What are the top 3 words of advice you would give someone who said, Mason, it's funny. People probably come in and go, Mason, how could I be you? Right? So, Mason, how can people become Mason? Give me 3 top things.
Become me, that's challenging. Like, succeed in the world of brokerage.
Succeed in the world of brokerage.
Yeah, that's
succeed in the world of brokerage.
So
we all can't be as good looking and as charismatic as you, that's for sure. So let's just go.
Voice for radio and face for radio, maybe too, is what I've heard. But so good thing it's audio only. So the top 3 things would be: 1, choose a niche and focus on it ruthlessly and prioritize. So I chose to just do multifamily in a tertiary market where nobody else was doing this. I have no idea what it's like, but if I was in LA, I might choose 3 neighborhoods to become an expert on versus all of LA, or unit size, something. Specialize and focus, and that will lead to more repeatable results, and the machine of brokerage will start moving. Number 2, hire a coach. So I mentioned I hired a coach when I was 2 months into brokerage with a 3-month-old daughter at home, a family to provide for, and 6 months in savings. And it was a big leap at the time. And I still wish I would have done it day 1, not day 60. And I've forward invested in my business from there. And I will never receive a higher ROI on any other place I could put my dollars than investing in my business via a personal coach. And so that's hands down. And then number 3 is finding a few people in the market through whether you're publishing research reports, positioning yourself as the expert. Find people who are willing to take early bets on you. So one of those contacts for me was a regional property manager in my market, noticed me early on and introduced me to her clients who were actively buying 70 or more unit deals. I wasn't playing in that field yet. I was doing 4plexes and 8 units. She introduced me to some of the best buyers in the market, which gave me the confidence to take that leap. So finding people who can make those connections, appraisers, property managers, people who aren't going to be your client at the end of the day, but that can push you and propel you forward. Those were the 3 things that led to my success in the first 15 months. And I believe are going to continue to be the reason for my success over the next 10, 20 years.
Okay. Well, that is absolutely incredible, Mason. I greatly appreciate your time. I know it's valuable. I know you have calls to make and deals to get done today. So we're going to let you go. But folks, as I always share with you, look, Mason has not only read the material, he has immersed himself in getting better. And he has applied and implemented and tested and implemented and tried again. And that's what he's done. But Mason, you got one more comment?
Yeah, just on that vein, I was doing a review of my year. Obviously, we talked about, I realized I put forward about 240 hours last year into coaching content. So reading the books, doing the worksheets, attending the meetings, 240 hours last year. I spent actually doing the work to prepare for the business that I did last year. So like the book says, knowing isn't doing, right? Like I studied and then had to apply and spent most of the time applying and learning. 240 hours last year. It was so much of what I put into it is what I've gotten back. I forgot to mention that.
I can't close better than that, as Mason said it. He can tell you everything you do, but you got to do it because knowing isn't doing. So Mason, thank you so much for your time. And everyone else, hey, check him out. Hey, Mason, how can people check you out? How can they learn more about Mason?
I think the place I'm most active right now is Twitter. So you can follow me at Mason Fiascone on Twitter. I got a pretty unique name, so you should be able to find me. Fiascone. It's spelled like it sounds.
Fiascone. Go follow Mason Fiascone on Twitter and study him, watch him, and then learn and then grow. Okay, folks, this has been Rod Santomassimo with The Massimo Show. I want to thank you for listening to this version of the Massimo Show. And please, please go out and share this with your friends, your colleagues. Heck, share it with your dog. Just share it. And more importantly, just give me some feedback, good, bad, or indifferent. We all grow from understanding what our audience wants to hear. So until next time, this is Rod Santomassimo with the Massimo Show.